Argentina's coaches say Messi's playing the opener, which means the hamstring watch is now Argentina's problem, and the Eastern Conference math is ours. This is Inter Miami Daily. Today we're digging into the Gulf News Recovery Report, taking a harder look at that Philly rivalry framing, and seeing what 44 confirmed MLS call-ups do to Miami's second-half schedule.
And now that all 48 rosters are locked, I can finally stop saying approximately. It's 44. That's a record. And the July return window is finite, whether we like it or not.
Fine by me. Let's get into it. Jadip Sengupta, writing in Gulf News.
Former Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain teammates Lionel Messi and Neymar Jr. will be playing in their 6th and 4th World Cups respectively. While the 38-year-old Argentinian trained separately during his side's first practice session in the United States on Monday as he continues his recovery from a hamstring issue, the 34-year-old Brazilian is also recovering from a calf injury, even as Carlo Ancelotti's team touched down in the United States on Monday.
Gulf News has the Messi opener timeline. Argentina's coach is saying he's expected to play Algeria on June 16th. But let's be precise about the sourcing. That's ESPN being cited by Gulf News, not Scaloni speaking directly. And the medical clearance still sits with Argentina's staff, not anyone in Fort Lauderdale. So the real Miami question is simple. If he plays June 16th, what does that do to the July fixture list?
I'll take the ESPN via Gulf News confirmation over the not so bad quote we were working with 3 days ago. The opener is the target. That's a real input. If Argentina goes deep, we're talking July 4th at the earliest before Messi even thinks about a return flight. And that's before you count the recovery time after the tournament.
Also, this piece is being framed as a Messi-Neymar legacy story with a Barcelona photo, which tells you exactly who Gulf News thinks it's talking to. That is not the Inter Miami roster story. Those are two different things, and I'd really rather not let the Neymar sidebar steal the rest of the airtime.
Fair. And while everybody's running the Messi timeline, DePaul trained separately too, and that thread has basically disappeared. 2 Miami starters in Argentina's camp, one getting the AP photo treatment and one getting nothing. That imbalance is going to matter when Hoyos tries to rebuild the midfield engine in July.
RealLoop writes,
In contrast, Inter Miami's narrative continues to be shaped by high-profile acquisitions and global attention. Currently, the conversation revolves around team chemistry and the sustainable integration of star players within MLS's demanding travel and schedule structure. The signal to watch here is how the club's on-field performance evolves as the season progresses and tactical adjustments become more critical.
RealLoop is framing the Philly-Miami matchup as the Eastern Conference's defining second-half rivalry. And the language they use is pretty pointed, distinct and contrasting trajectories. That's a polished way of saying one club has been building a system, and the other has been managing a spectacle.
I don't disagree with the framing, but contrasting trajectories only gets you halfway there if you ignore the schedule Miami is walking into. Philly's been running its system with a full squad. Miami is about to start the second half missing World Cup players and chasing fitness. That's not a philosophy gap. That's a logistics gap.
And now that all 48 World Cup rosters are locked, per Yahoo Sports, we can actually map this. St. Clair is in Group B, Bosnia, Qatar, Switzerland. So that's a real minutes load we can model. We know roughly when Canada exits or advances, and that drops right onto Miami's fixture list. The when does the squad reassemble question isn't vague anymore.
Which is exactly why the Philly rivalry piece lands differently today than it would have 2 weeks ago. The benchmark opponent is named. The backline question now has a specific team attached to it. And St. Clair's absence isn't abstract. It's a calculable whole against a club that does not need you gifting them set pieces.
Yahoo Sports with Jim Reineking.
Major League Soccer will be represented by a league record 44 players when Canada, Mexico, and the United States co-host the 2026 World Cup, as FIFA released the full 26-man rosters for each of the 48 squads at this year's tournament. The 44 active MLS players is an improvement over the 36 the league had competing at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar.
All 48 rosters are locked, and Yahoo Sports has the full count. 44 MLS players, up from 36 in Qatar. That's the league record, so we can stop calling it a projection. On Miami's side, it's 2, Messi and DePaul, while LAFC is sending 4.
And now that the number is final, the severity argument I've been sitting on actually lands.
This isn't Miami being dramatic about losing a couple of stars. It's part of a league-wide drain that's going to hit mid-table clubs and contenders alike when everybody comes back in July.
Right, but here's where I want to be precise. Under all the prestige, the story is fixture congestion. The World Cup final is July 19th. MLS doesn't pause forever. How many of those 44 are walking back into a club that has to restart a season inside 2 weeks? That's the number worth running, not the raw head count.
St. Clair is in Group B, Bosnia, Qatar, Switzerland. So his minutes load is actually mappable against Miami's fixture list now. That's not abstract anymore. Canada could be through the group stage by early July, and the question is what condition he's in when he lands back in South Florida.
Got a take on Inter Miami? A story idea? Or a correction we should know about? Send it our way at intermiamidailyfancast@lanternpodcasts.com. We read your notes and appreciate you listening. We've put links to every story from today's episode in the show notes, so if one caught your ear, you can dig in there. That's Inter Miami Daily Podcast for today. This is a Lantern Podcast.